Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, I don't want to be sounding like a drama queen here, but something switched. Something switched in the media, in the Western media, and in the US government. We hear criticism towards Ukraine or of Ukraine. Something like this did not happen, but up to about a few months ago, maybe a month ago, and it seems like it's a accelerated rate. The mass media in the West started criticizing or even saying that the Ukrainian counteroffensive doesn't succeed. It has a lot of losses, the Ukrainians during their counteroffensive. The American intelligence reports that the Russian counterattack most likely will not fulfill its goals, it's not going to reach its goals. All kind of criticism, and it's not positive criticism. It's a negative, how should I put it, not positive. It's not a productive one, let's put it this way. In this case, what do we have here? We have an article coming from Ukrainska Pravda, but they report on what Biden administration, the weasels in Washington, D.C. that you voted for, I don't know if you, but not me, and these guys are telling the Ukrainians that bombing or attacking Crimea, it's a waste of resources. Have you imagined ever that you're going to hear something like this, or have you ever heard something like this before? The only thing that I heard personally, and I read the media every day, a few times a day, various media outlets, it was one time when Mark Milley stated that the Ukrainians should not focus on fighting and defending Bakhmut, but on the contrary, focus on the counteroffensive. That's the only time when he gave an advice that I heard of like that. And like, hey, this is useless. Leave Bakhmut alone. Focus on a big counteroffensive. And the Ukrainians, or whomever is in control, because I don't think the Ukrainians are in control, I think the Ukrainians might have a veto power at the end of it. I think it's there's a lot of infight over there. Infighting between the Ukrainian generals and NATO generals. When the Ukrainians don't want to follow orders, they get in very, very nasty arguments. That's a gut feeling that I have. So, because it's a blackmail. And they will say, well, we fight this for you. You got to do sometimes what we tell you to do. Yeah, but we support you. Yeah, but without us fighting, we're going to be friends with the Russians tomorrow. And what are you going to do? You lose us. So you see, that's the little blackmail here that Ukraine can play. Oh, you don't want us to, you want us to show you how things are done? We're going to talk to Putin. What are you going to do? Invade us? No. And then we're going to go into Putin's side or something like that, and you're going to lose us. If you lose us, you lose Russia. If you lose Russia, you lose China. If you lose China, you lose global hegemony. So what do we have here? Let me show you this little article coming from Ukrainska Pravda. Biden administration criticizes Ukrainian strikes in Crimea as waste of resources. So can you imagine Biden administration first criticizing it, calling it waste of resources, reported by Clinton NN, or whatever you want to call that, CNN, okay? And reported by Ukrainska Pravda. So Ukrainska Pravda tell us criticism coming from Biden via CNN. Some military and US presidential officials, that's plural, have criticized Ukraine for striking occupied Crimea as they see it as a distraction at best and a waste of resources at worst. So, CNN is a source with reference to its sources. One unnamed senior defense official said that it's knocked the Russians off balance a bit, but it is not doing anything decisive, end quote. And I'm quoting again. And it would probably be better for everyone, for them to just focus on the counteroffensive, end quote. The same official added. A senior Western intelligence official said that With about a third of the occupied peninsula now within range of the US-provided HIMARS missile systems, Ukraine has also stepped up strikes on Russian ammunition storage points and other logistics and supply infrastructure there. And I'm quoting, there's more and more pressure on Crimea, and especially so in recent weeks. I mean, they got pounded, end quote, the official stated. Okay, ooh. At the same time, a Ukrainian source told CNN that the attacks on Crimea are an integral part of Ukraine's counteroffensive strategy to isolate Crimea and make it more difficult for Russia to supply its military operations on the Ukrainian mainland. Now, they say here that the strikes on Russian-occupied Crimea are becoming more regular. Yeah, but they use between 10 and 20 pound drones, explosives. What's that? But anyway, they create panic. It's true. Those sea drones, they indeed destroyed 3 bridges so far, or at least damaged 3 bridges really bad. Destroyed or damaged a landing ship, damaged a commercial vessel, and they're efficient, still efficient. It says here, President Zelensky said that the liberation of Crimea is becoming more and more achievable and well thought out. And I'm quoting, we are making the liberation of Crimea more achievable and more thought out, one step at a time, he stressed. Well, I made a video earlier today, I think, where you have the US intelligence saying that the Ukrainians will not be able to cut through Melitopol, Bryansk, and Zaporozhye. Well, that's the main goal. If they can't do that, it's going to be harder for them to go down to Crimea. Let me show you a little map here, what I'm talking about. So here is the map of Ukraine. Here is Melitopol, and Bryansk is right here. So Melitopol, Berdyansk. This is the Sea of Azov. This is the Black Sea. This is Crimean Peninsula. So this is Kherson Oblast. This is Zaporozhye Oblast. So the Ukrainians want to cut here and then supposedly divide the Russians in two. This one's right here, and then this one's right here will be just destroyed supposedly through a strong counteroffensive here. And the Ukrainians think that by doing that, they will cut the Russians' ability to transport on land resources defending Crimea. Therefore, they will destroy this bridge right here, the Crimean bridge, the Kerch bridge right here. And by doing that, supposedly the Russians will be cut off and Crimea will not get any more reinforcements. I mean, I think this sounds good if you have about, 10 million of military right here and about 10,000 tanks and, something like that, 50,000 missiles and so on. With what they got, I don't think that's achievable, including the fact that the Russians already created, I don't know how many layers of defensive lines. So, but anyway, doesn't mean they should not try. So the problem is not that they will destroy Crimea. Yeah, that's a nuisance, or how do you call that? It hurts a little bit here and there, creates panic, but what, do you think the Russians are going to leave it because you send 10 drones every 5 days? No. And 1 sea drone every week? With that one, not even missiles. Not even missiles. Sometimes you send the missiles once in a month. It doesn't mean that the Ukrainians cannot pick up. But how are we going to pick up that? Bring more. From the Americans, from the British, from the Germans, the Taurus, the Scalps, from the French, the Storm Shadow from the Brits. Yeah, if they get them. But do they get them? And the HIMARS. Give them more HIMARS. Where are they? I don't even think they're still operational, most of them. I haven't heard anything about it. But nevertheless, this is it. It's very strange that, according to this article, right, at the start of it, it said this, and I overemphasize that. This is the first line. Some military and US presidential officials, it's plural, at least 2, have criticized Ukraine for striking occupied Crimea, as they see it as a destruction at best and a waste of resources at worst. That's all you need to know. All you need to know. The rest, they just try to make it sound a little bit nicer than it is. We'll see. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As I said at the beginning of this video, what is strange is that the Americans, the politicians, military, and the mass media promotes criticism. And the Ukrainians are picking it up, try to turn it into, yeah, but it's a good thing Zelensky said so. Okay. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.